The bridge was still standing undamaged, 7 days after Colonel Cathcart had volunteered to destroy it. 9 missions his men had flown there in 6 days, and the bridge was not demolished until the 10th mission on the 7th day, when Yossarian killed Kraft and his crew by taking his flight of 6 planes in over the target a second time. Yossarian came in carefully on his second bomb run because he was brave then. He buried his head in his bomb sight until his bombs were away. When he looked up, everything inside the ship was suffused in a weird orange glow. At first he thought that his own plane was on fire. Then he spied the plane with burning engine directly above him and screamed to McQuart through the intercom to turn left hard. A second later, the wing of Kraft's plane blew off. The flaming wreck dropped, first the fuselage, then the spinning wing, while a shower of tiny metal fragments began tap dancing on the roof of Yossarian's own plane, and the incessant ka-chung, ka-chung, ka-chung of the flak was still thumping all around him. Back on the ground, every eye watched grimly as he walked in dull dejection up to Captain Black outside the green clapboard briefing room to make his intelligence report, and learned that Colonel Cathcart and Colonel Corn were waiting to speak to him. Major Danby stood barring the door, waving everyone away in ashen silence. Yossarian was laden with fatigue and longed to remove his sticky clothing. He stepped into the briefing room with mixed emotions, uncertain how he was supposed to feel about Kraft and the others, for they had all died in the distance of a mute and secluded agony at a moment when he was up to his own ass in the same vile, excruciating dilemma of duty and damnation. Colonel Cathcart, on the other hand, was all broken up by the event. "Twice?" he asked. "I would have missed it the first time," Yossarian replied softly, his face lowered. Their voices echoed slightly in the long, narrow bungalow. "But twice?" Colonel Cathcart repeated, in vivid disbelief. "I would have missed it the first time," Yossarian repeated. "But Kraft would be alive, and the bridge would still be up. A trained bombardier is supposed to drop his bombs the first time," Colonel Cathcart reminded him. "The other 5 bombardiers dropped their bombs the first time." "And missed the target," Yossarian said. "We would have had to go back there again. And maybe you would have gotten it the first time then, and maybe I wouldn't have gotten it at all. But maybe there wouldn't have been any losses, and maybe there would have been more losses with the bridge still left standing. I thought you wanted the bridge destroyed." "Don't contradict me," Colonel Cathcart said. "We're all in enough trouble." "I'm not contradicting you, sir." "Yes, you are. Even that's a contradiction." "Yes, sir. I'm sorry." Colonel Cathcart cracked his knuckles violently. Colonel Corn, a stocky, dark, flaccid man with a shapeless paunch, sat completely relaxed on one of the benches in the front row, his hands clasped comfortably over the top of his bald and swarthy head. His eyes were amused behind his glinting rimless spectacles. "We're trying to be perfectly objective about this," he prompted Colonel Cathcart. "We're trying to be perfectly objective about this," Colonel Cathcart said to Yossarian with the zeal of sudden inspiration. "It's not that I'm being sentimental or anything. I don't give a damn about the men or the airplane. It's just that it looks so lousy on the report. How am I going to cover up something like this in the report?" "Why don't you give me a medal?" Yossarian suggested timidly. "For going around twice? You gave one to Hungry Joe when he cracked up that airplane by mistake." Colonel Cathcart snickered ruefully. "You'll be lucky if we don't give you a court-martial." "But I got the bridge the second time around," Yossarian protested. "I thought you wanted the bridge destroyed." "Oh, I don't know what I wanted," Colonel Cathcart cried out in exasperation. "Look, Of course, I wanted the bridge destroyed. That bridge has been a source of trouble to me ever since I decided to send you men out to get it. But why couldn't you do it the first time? I didn't have enough time. My navigator wasn't sure we had the right city. The right city? Colonel Cathcart was baffled. Are you trying to blame it all on Arfi now? No, sir. It was my mistake for letting him distract me. All I'm trying to say is that I'm not infallible. Nobody's infallible, Colonel Cathcart said sharply, and then continued vaguely with an afterthought. Nobody is indispensable either. There was no rebuttal. Colonel Con stretched sluggishly. We've got to reach a decision, he observed casually to Colonel Cathcart. We've got to reach a decision, Colonel Cathcart said to Yossarian. And it's all your fault. Why did you have to go around twice? Why couldn't you drop your bombs the first time like all the others? I would have missed the first time. It seems to me that we are going around twice, Colonel Con interrupted with a chuckle. But what are we going to do? Colonel Cathcart exclaimed with distress. The others are all waiting outside. Why don't we give him a medal? Colonel Con proposed. For going around twice? What can we give him a medal for? For going around twice, Colonel Con answered with a reflective, self-satisfied smile. After all, I suppose it did take a lot of courage to go over that target a second time with no other planes around to divert the anti-aircraft fire. And he did hit the bridge, you know. That might be the answer. To act boastfully about something we ought to be ashamed of. That's a trick that never seems to fail. Do you think it will work? I'm sure it will. And let's promote him to captain too, just to make certain. Don't you think that's going a bit farther than we have to? No, I don't think so. It's best we play safe. And the captain's not much difference. All right, Colonel Cathcart decided. We'll give him a medal for being brave enough to go around over the target twice, and we'll make him a captain too. Colonel Con reached for his hat. Exit smiling, he joked, and put his arm around Yossarian's shoulder as they stepped outside the door.